Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the Family EV podcast. I am John, and with me, as ever, from deepest, darkest Chicagoland. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Surviving. Actually, not just surviving. It's bloody cold. I'm in California. I know. Don't hate. T-shirt, shirt, thick sweater and overcoat, and it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is it's chilly. It's barely above freezing.
It was 50 degrees here yesterday.
You know what? I'd only be in danger of running out of nipple tassels. There's a thought for our viewer, for our listener. We have much to talk about today, Joe.
After a couple of weeks that have been slow, it's finally a busy week, right?
It is. And by the way, we're going to break the rule because I'm going to have to share a screen on this one for one of the topics today, but I'll save that for the end. So listener, keep listening. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, do so. We don't say these things. It helps us tremendously. We're trying to build up a better picture of who our listeners are. So hit that. If you found us on Apple or on Spotify, hit that subscribe button. We produce content every week. That's the commitment we're trying to make. We do it on Tuesday, push it out the same day. And we hope it's useful and interesting to you. So and coming up in the next couple of weeks, we will have some collaborations with some other EV podcasters. So more to come on that. Joe, before I get into the news, isn't really news that we talk about, just what we find interesting. Any content on JKEV over the past week or coming up in the next 7 days?
I did a ton of filming when I was at the Chicago Auto Show a couple weeks ago, and so I guess that was last week Friday already. Wow, time's flying. But just slowly getting those edited and getting them out. I think the Silverado EV walk around will be this week, so that was joy to see that vehicle in person.
Sorry for Joe. Joe's wife stole his iPad, which is what he normally records on. So he's using AirPods and a PC. And I think we can all agree that it sounds like he's calling us from Chicago on a landline, as opposed to the quality isn't what you would expect, but we're not going to charge you anymore for this free podcast with no advertising. We can't be fairer than that. I actually posted a video to my channel for the first time in months. I'm not joking. I did a quick trip to Pasadena this weekend, and this was kind of guerrilla style. I literally just used a cell phone. There's no road trip. There's no long montages. What was interesting, I think I mentioned the trip on the last pod that it was going to happen. Mrs. Regular EV, who does not like road tripping in the EV and has no wish to do it, but frankly doesn't think it's ever going to work, agreed to go to Pasadena with me, or rather I went to Pasadena and I drove and looked after the kids so she could have some time doing what she wanted to do. It went better than you think. My wife clearly doesn't understand that, as human beings, we have core requirements, and also the kid needs to make those requirements more often than we do. And it ended up being, pardon me, late night. It ended up being a fantastic trip. We, the original plan was to do 2 stops between here and Pasadena, one in Paso Robles for about 10 minutes, and then another one at Countryside on 5 for about 25 minutes. In the end, by the time we picked up our friend and got to Paso, my wife wanted to have a proper meal with the kid in a Thai food place that they really like. And so I ended up charging to 100% from, 20 odd percent all the way up. It wasn't, anyway, I ended up doing 100% charge, which you wouldn't normally do, but I was only charging as long as they were eating. I couldn't eat Thai food because I'm being really good on my diet. And if you put me, that's like, telling a crack addict to go into a crack house and just pick up some furniture. I can't do that. I cannot be in the presence of curried pineapple fried rice. It's just not fair. I'm like human pad thai. So I went and got a bunless burger across the road while the car was charging. And we would have probably made it all the way, except for the fact that we were overweight. I mean, we weren't legally overweight, but by the settings I put in, we had an extra person and luggage and a dog. So, and it was cold. It was down to 30 degrees. And that obviously has an effect on range. So we need another 6.5 minute charge. Wow. But we got there, charging was no problem. And on the way back, I tried not to over plan it. And again, my wife was surprised to find out that the amount of time it takes to buy a cup of tea and or coffee at an outlet on the way home is exactly the amount of time you need to charge. Like I plugged in, she went one way, I went the other. So who knows, maybe this becomes more normal for the household. There's a video all about the trip to Pasadena. It's on Regular EV Dad. I didn't say anything about it. It was just like me and the camera, me and the phone. And I strung it together and then did everything. Wow, he's wearing the same clothes. No, I did it this morning. Yes, I'm wearing the same clothes. I recorded it in here this morning and uploaded it. So go watch and have a look. It's only 3.5 minutes. It's a shorty, just a little shorty. And I will get to doing some of the editing I need to do at some point in the future.
Yeah, we're doing a 1,000-mile round trip to Omaha and back this weekend. Convinced my wife to take the Volkswagen since it saves, like we talked last time, $80 in fuel. It's only 3 stops. The first stop is dinner. Second stop will probably be to get coffee anyway. So both of those will be no time wasted at the charger. And the third one is pretty much, I think, only a 10 or 15 minute stop, just whatever we need to get the rest of the way to Omaha. So it's really not an inconvenience at all.
Joe, let me destroy the thing right now. I got to talk about a better route planner. Did you buy the adapter I sent you the link for?
I did not yet, no.
Joe, spend that $30 right now. And here's why. This is Jon getting impassioned. We're not sponsored by these people. I just got to share this with you because it was phenomenal. Let me get very quickly.
Is my audio better now or when we started the call?
No, Joe, it sucks, but it's fine. It's fine.
I switched it to the laptop, so I'll switch back to the AirPods. It seems like they have a little bit.
It's neither here nor there, my friend. People turn up for the British accent anyway. I mean, this is what they're here for, Joe. It's, this is the accent you could have had. And for those, by the way, like a third of our audience is from England. So look, I know this doesn't sound British to you. I'm from Yorkshire of all bloody places. I don't get how I ended up sounding like this either. So whatever. Joe, I got to share this with you. Let me find the picture. Give me a second. So I'm going to put it on the screen. Share screen. Share screen 2. All right, Joe, can you see this?
Yep.
This is a better route planner running on Android Auto. You've got real time, you've got 3D mapping, you've got next turn information, you've got ETA, number of miles, number of minutes. You've got current battery information and destination battery information. Not only that, but right here, it tells you what the maximum charge available and what sort of percentage-ish, is never quite 100% of the charges are available at the next place you're going to. All running on Android Auto, and I'm sure it works on Apple CarPlay, but I haven't been able to test it, so your mileage may vary. But wow, just wow. Let me just pause the share for a second. I want to see, because I don't want to expose pictures of the kid running around like she was. Let me see if I've got some other pictures in here.
You showed me everything. I'm already on my way on Amazon right now on my other computer.
So let me show you this.
Looks like it'll be the best $30 I spend.
Oh, and I'm going to share it in the. I'll show people. I'll show you in a minute. Just to hang fire, and I'll show you in Amazon what it is you need. So here's where it gets even cooler. So here I am at Paso Robles, and I didn't realize this until it was too late, which is why it says 99%. If you keep the car, if you do the keeping the car, you know, because I was in the car, so it wasn't an issue. But if you do the whole keeping the seatbelt plugged in trick, so it doesn't switch the car off automatically, and you press start and you have it all working, it even gives you the current charge rates into the vehicle within. And this was running on the phone. So on the way down, I just had the phone running. I didn't have Android Auto working because I didn't want to mess with it. I'm traveling with the wife on a long distance road trip. I don't want anything to go wrong because, you know, she'll change her mind and never do it again. That happened on something else before. Ha ha ha. Yes, people, that's right. This podcast has sex jokes.
You said the car needs to be on for it to display the charging data, though?
Yeah. Well, I got to do more work on this. I think there's a timing function. So I think the ODB port stays on for a while after you switch off. But
okay.
This is just, yeah, so you don't get immediate, you know, I was still using Electrify America to tell me what the situation was and the car telling me when it was 80%. But I just saw this and I was like blown away because, yeah, it just works. So let me just pause the share for a second and see if I did another image in here. The answer is no. It was absolutely fantastic. Just it worked. Oh, I said I'd share the thing, didn't I? Hold on, let me very quickly. So people, what we're talking about here, return orders, ODB. No, what do you mean you didn't find it? Okay, V-gate. Okay, here we go. So people, you have to understand, I can't tell you whether you need to have a premium subscription or not. I support a better route planner because I want them to succeed. So I do subscribe. I don't get any benefit, no benefit, no da-da-da. But I believe it's worth supporting because it produces real dividend. This piece of Chinese rubbish is the thing you need. It is the V-gate iCar Pro Bluetooth BLE. I cannot stress enough, this has to be the BLE. This will work on Android and on iPhones. In fact, it has two outputs. So it will technically work on two at the same time. I haven't tried that. But this is the one that will work. The only thing you have to be aware of is sometimes it might not find it. You don't want to, one of the weird things is you do not want to pair the device. Your instinct about having Bluetooth, no, don't pair. Find it through the app. And then it uses the low power BLE function, which is a broadcast ingestion model. I used to work with this stuff, but not in this context. And yeah, it is just fantastic. It's $30, absolutely worth it. Go do it. Improve the quality of the driving experience. Things that you
It'll be here tomorrow.
Things you don't get because there's a trade-off. You haven't got Waze running, so it means you're not going to get the cops or the traffic information is okay-ish. It's not as good as Waze.
My tip for that, what we do in RID is we'll have like Christina's phone running, not connected to Bluetooth, and it'll just, it just run in the background and it reports out loud.
And that's basically what I do, because I have the second phone and I had Waze running underneath, but it was, I missed it, but man, it was so good having that real-time information. Just really made the trip. It's just, and I think I tweeted about it. It's Tesla-like functionality. So yeah, let's crack on with the stuff. So yeah, it's been a full week, Joe. Let's cover off. What order? Let's get Tesla out of the way. So big news. they have produced 1,046,080 cells, based here in their and this isn't at the big gigafactories. This is in their pre-prototype production facility here in the Bay Area off of Cato Road at the Tesla factory. I don't know how many Model Ys with structural battery packs that's going to be able to make, but clearly enough, because at the same time we're seeing Model Ys being produced in small numbers in both Berlin and in Texas. So this is good for Tesla. It improves their margins. We know that. It's good for the industry as a whole. But my understanding is that in Berlin, they're going to keep using the existing battery packs that they use in the 3 and the Y until they can change. And just it boggles the mind that Tesla can make such a big change like that, but they designed it into both the vehicle and their production facilities. Any words, Joe?
Yeah, I just drove the 3 and Y last weekend, the new 2022s at a Tesla marketing event. Didn't know they had a marketing department until recently, but it does exist. But it was a 2022 model with just the old 2160 batteries. Wasn't the new Model Y out of Texas yet. But the Texas one is one I really have my eyes out for, because I'm not, either way, it's going to be an improvement, because it's either going to be a lighter weight with the same range,
Yep.
or it's going to be a more range if it's the same.
Yep.
Yeah. So either way, it's a win with those batteries going in the car.
Now, at the same time,
and I think they said it can sustain higher charging too, if I remember
yes.
right.
Yeah, because there's bigger cells, so they can absorb more. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. At the same time, you still can't legally buy a Tesla in Texas, in the same way. And at the same time, in non-Tesla news, Texas is debating slapping on a $200 surcharge to the registration fee. Now,
that's how Illinois is.
And it's how California is as well. Ironically, we get a lot of the rebates, but we also, my registration for my car came in at $649. That's about $250 more than my wife's Volvo. But 25,000 miles, and I have paid precisely, in terms of gas tax. Yes, I paid sales tax, but sales tax goes to the general fund. It doesn't go towards the roads, and those roads, need upkeep. I do think, and I think, we normally just talk from the EV side of things, Joe. But cars are using less gas now anyway than they were 30 years ago. I was up till 2 a.m. this morning editing not a YouTube video for this, but actually a speech I'm giving with 3-star Vice Admiral Bruce Lindsay. I recorded with last week for some work stuff, and deadlines are deadlines. So pardon the tiredness. But your hybrid, yes, you buy gas for that thing, but you're not using the kind of gas you were in the car you had 10 years ago, are you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the hybrid is 40 to 42 miles a gallon around town. My Focus was averaging around 27 to 30, and so that definitely was an improvement. And then now we use the hybrid so little, because the other factor that people using less gas is so many people are working from home now. Yeah. So Christina went to work today. I'm staying home, so she took the Volkswagen. So we charge at home, and that's cheaper than putting any gas in the Kia.
And so I think what we need to, as a country, the idea that this country could actually pull together and think about something collectively without it becoming a divisive fight to the death. Sorry, I have friends in the Ukraine right now, so they could really use a united America. We need to. The gas tax needs to be reformed. is not fair. And by the way, I have an EV. Remember that. But I have two of them. But I have to make a contribution. But my contribution needs to be fair. If I'm only using a Fiat 500e for commuting to work, I don't think I should have to pay the same. I'm only doing 20 miles a day versus somebody that's doing 60 miles a day. And the gas tax was fair in that it taxed consumption. Well, the only way we can equitably define consumption isn't consumption of the amount of gas you burn or use or ions. It's distance covered.
Yeah, odometers is definitely the way to go. I know some states have thought about doing odometers, and that's unfair because a lot of my driving isn't within one state when I'm doing a road trip. But on a national level, then that is fair.
No, I think they got to harmonize it. And I can't, they've got to centralize it. But I actually, to be fair, Joe, that doesn't matter because it's a federal tax and then it's redistributed, and the interstate system relies upon it. Local road, you got local gas taxes. And I know it means fingers in pies and it'll be a mess. But you know what? The whole thing needs to be computerized. The irony is it's probably going to involve compulsory fitting of an ODB port, which will disable the thing we just bought, but whatever. I think that's the only way we can go is to actually have a smart system, tied to the ODB, GPS. Oh, there'll be problems with it.
Well, I mean, every car, like our Kias, 2017, if I log in, I can see it. The app shows me what the odometer is. My Chevy Volt was a 2017, same scenario. So I think there's ways that they can make this, a simple.
Oh, no, there is. It's got to be done. Unfortunately, it's not fair otherwise. But everyone's going to say, "Oh, I don't want the government tracking." Here's the funny thing: they've all got Facebook accounts. And by the way, if you want to, you think you don't want the government tracking you, bear in mind that we found the restaurant that my wife wanted to go to brunch in because she was there on May the 19th, 4 years ago. And she couldn't remember the name of it or even the location of it. But you know what? We were able, I'm just bringing this up on my phone just in a random point in time in the past. I'm going to go to 2018, so January the 16th, 2020. Google knows exactly where I was that day, including the flight I took, which I don't even remember. Remembers that I walked a mile from the Renaissance Dallas Addison Hotel to the Spectrum Center where my old office was. Later on in the day, apparently, I drove 10 miles in 34 minutes to Dallas Love Field before flying 4 hours and 30 minutes back to San Jose, where I then drove 11 miles in 37 minutes to get home to my home address. And you care about the government tracking you? Yeah. Wake up and smell the damn coffee. Yeah, that's right. Hacker guy says, get over it. We already know. It ain't a secret. What you do ain't that interesting other than to you. And the person you probably don't want to find out is your wife or husband. Because then they're going to know when you stop for McDonald's on the way home on your diet. I've done that. I'm trying to be skinnier. Starting to look a little bit better. It's almost like I know I'm going to be on YouTube again on the Kill Tony show in 6 weeks, Joe. It's weird. It's almost like I'm doing this for a reason, even though my hair looks like a friggin' Dateline Survivor case. Anyway. You know what, Joe? Seeing as I'm already halfway ranting, do you mind if I talk about Hummer? Do you mind if we talk about Hummer?
I was just thinking I can circle back to, since I saw the Silverado EV, the bright side of it was that it has 400 miles. The downside of it is that it has a 200 kilowatt hour battery.
Joe, you get off your chest what you need to get off your chest, and then I'll just go get the soapbox out.
No, that's pretty much it. I just I think that in my opinion, I understand that people are asking for electric trucks, but if we're using when we're so battery constrained as it is, no matter what electric car is made, it gets sold, whether it's a Bolt, a Leaf, or a Tesla. So I think whatever vehicle, whatever batteries can be used, more vehicles is better than less vehicles with big batteries.
So let's start with what Joe said, and then let's see what the eloquent British guy has to say on the subject. What the effing F are you morons up to over in GM? You know, you had an opportunity to rebrand Hummer as an environmental company, which was without doubt one of the funniest and best demonstration of utility. I mean, wow. But what you ended up doing after people got hold of the data is, yeah, absolutely on brand and also shitting on the planet at the same time. So let's talk about this. It has an in excess of 200 kilowatt battery to deliver 329 miles of range, according to the EPA. Well, it didn't take anyone too long to do the friggin' maths on this one. And so you have the equivalent of 5 Chevy Bolts that aren't on fire right now. I mean, that may change in the morning, but you get 5 cars worth of the battery, Joe, in this thing weighs more than a complete Toyota Camry.
It weighs, I think, only 300 pounds less, or is it more than a Mini Cooper electric?
Yeah, it weighs the same as a Camry. Let's just stop and start there. A Camry. This is a 5-person vehicle, and that's just the battery. Yes, it can go it can do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, but at that amount of weight, you're not going to have tires for very long. Not only that, but this is actually going to do damage to the roads. And you're not paying a gas tax on this thing. Yep. This thing delivers 49 mpge. That's not just low. That's the equivalent of taking a Tesla and building a house on it and taking it for a drive. I mean, it just boggles the mind when, like you said, Joe, we are resource constrained. We are battery constrained. That you would take the batteries for 5 vehicles to make one giant artificial penis that can go sideways. I mean, it's a truck by dicks, for dicks. I feel quite impassioned about this one, Joe. I'm going to be honest with you. I read this article and just got madder and madder. Any good that they were going to do. I know it's a halo, and hopefully the lyric and all the other things that will use Ultium battery technology will not be such a colossal waste of space. I have a new policy, Joe. If I see one of these, the tires are getting slashed. There's no fair way to do this, and it's the only way they'll learn. But if you're gonna be a CUNT, expect people to treat you like one. Wow.
So we don't have EPA numbers for the Lightning yet, although we do know that Ford has a history of being very conservative in their estimates, right?
Yeah, well, we do. We have a pretty good. We don't have EPA numbers, Joe.
We know it's going to be 300 miles and then some.
Yeah,
and that's out of 131, I think 130 or 131 kilowatt hour battery, yeah. Right? So it's 30 or 40% less battery, getting almost the same range. Out
Unload.
Of, in theory, a same size truck, full size truck.
Just absolute.
Similar performance too, for 0 to 60 at least. And that's out of a 400 volt system, not an 800 volt system like the Ultium is.
Yeah. Just wow. Ready, aim, look at foot, fire, GM, fire. Absolutely. Yeah. John not happy. John not happy at all. All right. We've done all right, well, we'll say VW. You know what? I just realized, Joe, it's a ranty kind of day, actually. It started off well, but now it's going ranty. So I find this one interesting. Kia didn't do an announcement of what would come with the vehicle in terms of charging infrastructure and access and things like that. finally they have. The Kia EV6 will come with 4,000 miles of juice from Electrify America. Obviously a completely different ingredient, so the ID4 that Joe and I got, the 2021s, came with 3 years unlimited Electrify America. 2022s come with unlimited 30-minute charges, and we've seen this with BMW and EVgo in the past many years ago. That's how they did things, and that worked. But 30 minutes on a 50 kilowatt was perfect for a car which had 50 kilowatts, I think it was, of capacity, but maybe less than that actually. This is, I think this is good. I think this is just a drive towards normalization. This is just, it's a car. You buy fuel for it, and it's thing. Any thoughts, Joe?
I do know so one thing to throw out, so the Ioniq has the same plan that essentially the new ID4s are on, the 30-minute charges. Some people have thought, oh, well, you could just unplug and replug in. I found out that it's 1 hour in between charges. So that, that's their way of preventing people from just plugging right back in. I can see some issues being there, because there's many times I get to a charger, I plug in, I don't like the speed I'm getting, so I unplug and move to another charger. Not sure how that's going to work, but I guess we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah, they're gonna have to put some logic in that. Like, if you do get a bad charge, then it's going to overwrite, and that should be easy for them to do, because they know what the charging rates. It would suck if you turn up I don't know, let's just pick a random charge, like, oh, I know, Winnemucca, where you were getting, what I
should be able to piece together that those two charges are still within the 30-minute window, something like that. But for us, like, I think we talked about this last podcast, we like the EDV6 more, but just the free charging that comes with the Ioniq makes it the clear winner for anyone that does any sort of road tripping. And because it adds up, certainly does.
I'm looking to see if there's been any updates to some of these sites, and I'll explain this in a minute. But I'll tell you what, just so for those that are only listening to this, we'll do the Volkswagen news, and then we'll talk about chargers, because an interesting topic, but I need to share a couple of screens, and I know, Joe, that we're going to go off on a couple of tangents. I just know. So let's, with that in mind, let's do the VW news. And let's start off with Volkswagen Group as a whole, potentially, and actually they've well progressed the process of putting together an IPO for Porsche and other assets as an IPO in order to fund their growing EV investment requirements. I found that quite interesting, Joe.
Yeah, I'm surprised that especially since Porsche has been a kind of a key part of the old Volkswagen Group electrification, and the Taycan's been kind of the flagship vehicle to a certain extent, and that they share that architecture with the Audi e-tron GT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there's other brands in their family that they could sell off and spin off for profit.
In unrelated news, the company I worked for last year, and which I do own stock in, did just announce a $1 billion investment round. They took in $1 billion for investment. I have yet to find out whether or not I will have a release point or partial release point within that. So I haven't decided yet whether I am buying or when I will be getting an Audi e-tron GT RS, but I was stuck at when I was at the Charger, Joe, on my own in Paso Robles, and I was sitting on top on this news, and I hadn't told Mrs. Regular EV Dad at this point. I'm looking and I'm thinking, do I want the Audi e-tron GT, or do I want the Porsche Taycan Turismo?
Well, I already figured this out. The Audi does come with 3 years of free charging, so there's your sales point right there.
Joe, my net worth increased more than the value of your house. I don't care about paying for charging at this point, or potentially I don't. And that's a horrible thing to say, but this is a huge chunk of the mortgage is paid off. The kids' tuition, bear in mind, we're talking about tuition for frigging kindergarten, which runs to, $15,000 a year. But all the tuition money put to one side in an interest-bearing account, yada, 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 all that taken care of. And yeah, I get to buy a new car without it hurting. I didn't care about the charging, Joe. I didn't care about the charging.
I was just thought it's interesting how it's $150,000 car and it still comes with free charging. Like, is there anyone that bought the car at that point because of the free charging?
I don't think anybody is, but I think it's just a question of easing people into the purchase. By the way, let me be clear, there is some nuts on this. I'm looking at secondhand Porsche Taycan turbos, regular Porsche Taycan turbos with 12,000 miles, pricing at $195,000. MSRP is 110 on that, and they are trying to sell them for that much, and that's at a dealer. So, gouging, be happy. Now, I do find it's a fantastic problem to have, where you're trying to decide between the two. And I'm going to be honest with you. I thought about it. I thought about it hard. I don't think there's any difference in internal space between the
Audi and the Porsche. Yeah.
No, there is, but the Porsche, the Cross Turismo. I don't think there's any difference between the Cross Turismo and the slightly, I think it's the higher, the lifted one. But
the Cross Turismo and Sport Turismo, you mean?
Yeah. I'm sure Kyle's done an advert. Sorry, Kyle, I know you don't do commercial, but I'm sure he has a comparison between them. I'll need to obviously spend a ridiculous.
They're the same car. It's just the Sport Turismo is lower to the ground like the regular Taycan. So then instead of having the plastic cladding and the wheel wells, it has painted fenders.
Well, in that case, it'll be the Taycan 4 Cross Turismo with the extended battery pack. What a fantastic problem to have, Joe. What a fantastic problem to have. Now then, let's where was it? Oh yeah, Volkswagen news.
Well, still on Volkswagen here, yeah.
So they're also looking for a new site for ID4 and ID bus building, which is interesting. And then we also get news that the 2022 ID4s will have 20 miles of additional range. Without a heat pump, so they've clearly found some efficiencies. How much of this is hardware, how much of this is software, we've yet to find out. But Joe, and this is interesting, they will come with plug and play as standard and 135 kilowatt charging.
And auto hold.
April 17th, I think, is the date I'm looking at, Volkswagen. That's when I'll have owned it a year. Do less, do it well, do it often. Welcome to software. It's hard. There's an irony there. So that's all the newsy kind of stuff, unless Joe, you've got something to add. Otherwise, I'll talk about this other thing.
I was looking up Herbert Diess's Twitter because I thought he tweeted about software again. Maybe that was an old tweet though that I saw. Because I know a lot of these updates, supposedly, whenever we get our update, a lot of these are supposed to come to our car as well. The efficiency, or whether they just unlocked more of the pack for us to use. I'm not sure that that's really possible because it's such a small buffer as is. We only have a 5 kilowatt hour buffer on our cars as is.
Yeah, so that's fine.
I'm just most
15
disappointed
miles.
that the charging bump is going from 125 to 135. I think there's a lot more potential there. I mean, how every other car brand has shown that they can crank up the speed quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it's all about the C charge and about how long you can run it for. It's all about that time below the band, not above it. So we'll see. We will see. It is they've brought in a new CTO into their car ID program. This is a software group that is in and not part of it. At some point they got to get their shit together. They really do. All right, Joe, let's get on to a far more interesting topic. And by the way, so this is where I'm going to share a screen, and I apologize to our listener. This is why you want to go to the YouTube channel to Family EV Podcast, because you're going to miss this, and this is quite interesting. So, a couple of things, Joe. I want to talk about competition. And I didn't know I wanted to talk about this until yesterday afternoon. Let me share my screen with you. And let me go to plug share. Now, this will be interesting to see. I was just curious because we were talking about Winnemucca to see if Winnemucca had received an upgrade. I was last there in June. It would appear that as of right now, half of the unit, sorry, two of the unit, no, half of the units are out of commission. We've got, but people have been able to plug in. I haven't run into a Highlander that's been plugged in. I do find that amazing. Number 3 and number 4 are working, but that seems all. The pavement looks really nice, but the area is still fenced off. Don't know what that means. But it's,
we give a PSA announcement about people using PlugShare.
Yeah, you're going to say what I need to.
So, whenever anyone out there who uses PlugShare, please put what charging unit you use. I can't say how many times I arrive at a charging location. I read the first couple of reviews. Oh, it worked great. I got 125 kilowatts. Oh, it worked great. I got 150 kilowatts. I don't know what charger they used. Just arbitrarily, whatever unit they used worked. But if you put in the charger number, it is a huge help to us, so we know which unit to go to.
So what Joe means is, and you can see on my screen here, there's this guy. I don't know who he is. He's called Regular EV Dad. And he's got a blue Volkswagen ID4. And he made his comment very simple: full speed on number 1. And he even put the speed that he achieved of 122 kilowatts. Look at that. All the information you need. However, Teresa from San Jose, and you're a lovely person, Teresa, told us that Chevy Bolt got 350 kilowatts. No, you told us you plugged into a 350 kilowatt unit. That's great, but just tell us the number, because there's 2 of them. And a Chevy Bolt getting 350 kilowatts is the last thing that happens to that Chevy Bolt before it barbecues itself. And Rebecca Lee also apparently got 350 interest. So really happy with the Chevy Bolt. People here at 52 and 74. The Porsche Taycan was charging off a 150 and got 126, and the Audi e-tron say 140. That's great. Just tell us which one you're at. Tiny different. It makes a huge difference. It really does. But anyway, that's not the. That wasn't what I was going to talk about. But it is why I was here. So on our road trip, Joe, and I'll just flash to a better route plan, and I'll show you what actually what happened. So I can't be a screen. I'm not. So I'm going to start at Weston. I'm going to go to Revis Way. I'm going to me go at Santa Barbara. And I'm going to add San Jose. And so, you know, pretty normal trip. We left with 100%. And this is completely wrong, but that's hilarious. Oh, because it thinks I'm leaving with 15% battery. That's amusing. 100. Quick refresh. That would suck. That would really suck. There we go. That's a bit better. In fact, even that's not accurate. But anyway, we went to Santa Barbara and we didn't charge. I had the option to charge. You can watch this on my video on my channel. The kid needed an emergency poop stop, and so we were going to thought we were going to go to Santa Maria, but we ended up just pooping and not stopping before going to Pismo. Now, here's where this gets interesting, Joe. Here's where this just gets interesting, because we took the coast. We came down 5, but we went home on the coast road. We stopped here at my wife suddenly, having left Santa Barbara down here and not used any of its chargers, and we were going to get into Pismo with like 13-15%, something like that. Pismo is up here. But as we come past Los Alamos, my wife really needs to use the bathroom. Turns out she doesn't have the constitution of a camel. That's somebody else that was in our traveling party. So I stopped. Literally the first place we could stop was this Chevron gas station. This is that you'll notice you come up. There's nothing else here, right? This Chevron gas station is the only place to stop. And what do we see as we pull into the Chevron? Oh, we see this right across the road. Brand new, plumbed in, but not ready to go yet. 4-station Signet system. Very happy to see that. So, you know, this is one of those crazy things where the infrastructure is arriving in the places you expect it to be, even if you're not expecting it. This is, I like to say, this is the start of normal. The placement of this unit and the car parking is a little bit weird, but whatever. I'm sure there was a good reason for it. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this, Joe. Now, let me go to Santa Barbara. Here's a good example. In this car park, we have got a very typical Electrify America system with power packs. Interesting to see. But in the back of the car park, we have a good old fashioned, it's either a Delta or an EV Go. Nope, it's a Delta EV Connect. Oh, sorry, EFAC, 50 kilowatt. Now, I don't think that's really competition, right? But it exists.
It's ancient.
Well, it's what it is. What it is. But I wanted to show you this. So on the way home, Mrs. Garside's humanity caught up with her. She was a bit unhappy that we were going to have to stop in Pismo, which we did. And then, and this shows you how weird the numbers are. It said that after charging, so here it says charging to, I have a maximum of 7%, charging to 60%. I actually charged to 70. By the time everyone got back to the car from the bathroom, I was already at 70. We were going to have to do a 7-minute charge in Salinas. Well, the irony of that, and this is one of those things that annoys people, is that Salinas is right before we would drop our friends off, drop Lisa off. And there's nothing worse than, you know, I mean, you can actually see on the map, that's the Electrify America charger at Walmart. And her house here, there's not, literally, it's like 12 miles. What is more annoying than stopping for 7 minutes, 12 miles from home? However, Mrs. Garside needed to use the bathroom. And I said, well, there's this charging spot at Soledad. We'll stop there. And there's a Starbucks. I'll drop you off at the Starbucks, which is right here where it says smoke shop. Next to that is the Starbucks. You can see it says Denny's on here, but I assure you it's a Starbucks. And I'll charge up. And I'll put money on it, my darling. The minute you get to the car, we'll be ready to leave. But as we're leaving, I saw this. Where are you? I've lost it. There's the Electrify America that we charged at. And right next to it, and this is a photo I took because it's the only one that exists, brand new chargers. There are going to be 2, and that's what it shows us here. 2 200 kilowatt CHAdeMOs and CCSs. The Electrify America is over here in this corner. This is here. We have 2 200 kilowatt chargers from different companies in the same car park.
I'm more amused that there's CHAdeMOs on both of those.
We'll get past that. Welcome to California. Remember, we have to support, they may have got money to do this from the state.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if they have. But this is with EV range. And I hadn't heard of EV range. That was a new one to me. EV range.
Yeah, I think it'll be over the next few years, we'll start seeing a lot of these companies get gobbled up by the big oil companies, right? And they'll be rebranded, and this will be your Shell electric stations, your mobile electric stations.
Yeah, but isn't this a good, I just think this is a good thing. We've actually got competition. I mean, I've had it in the weirdest of circumstances up in Oakdale, of all places. When I was going to take the kiddo up to snow tubing. I think I'm looking over here for reasons because I've got a cat that's sniffing everything over there. I swear to God, if it pees, it's going to need to find a new house. So there is the charge point 62, and these had recently been upgraded. Oh, look, a Tesla that's not charging. What a surprise. It happens all the time. I was just reparking. Oh, somebody who modified, I love this, somebody who modified their Joe, I got to be unprofessional and deal with the cat. Hold on. The cat ran into the kid's bed again. My kid's got bunk beds and the cat just friggin' thing. Somebody got the CHAdeMO modification for their Toyota EV, which is kind of cool. So they can CHAdeMO charge. I think it charges it up to 40 kilowatts. It's a bit of a remote. So this one has been upgraded recently to 62. I could only get 55 out of it with my car when I charged here. But they've done, let me try and do that again. Oh, someone's deleted the old photos. That's rather annoying. Anyway, you used to have the old CCS. Actually, these are the new. Oh, you know what? This needs an updated picture because, yeah, these have been upgraded with the one with the spinny top. Yeah, July 5th. Yeah, they've actually replaced those. But we have a bit of local competition. The local Ford dealership Interesting. Huh. Not got a picture, but anyway, there's a local Ford dealership which has a brand new Charger, runs at 62.5. It uses the ChargePoint network, but it's not a ChargePoint, if that makes sense.
We have a couple of dealers around here that have put in the ChargePoint 50 kilowatt units. I've heard of some dealerships out on the East Coast putting in 150 kilowatt units, which is just crazy amount of installation expense. But I think that's their methodology is when someone comes to charge, salesman will go out and talk to them. You know, they'll give them coffee or water, whatever they need, and start building that relationship. So if they had to give a couple charges, but they sell a car sometime down the road, they built that relationship.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. This one, it's weird. It's disappeared, but it was on here. It's been removed. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm actually going back up there at the weekend to take my dog up there. So I will take a look and I'll report back. But no, I just found it interesting, Joe, that we are getting competition for all the talk of Tesla opening its network. We've actually got real competition starting on major transit routes as well. I mean, we've already got, on 5, we've already got multiple people just not running at 200 kilowatts. I'm not sure if you remember when I said, Denver it was amazing. I might stop at Whole Foods because they've got 100 kilowatt EV Go. We've moved beyond that. I bet you even EV Goes. I was actually blown away. I have a comedy get. I hate paying for parking, Joe. I'm a cheap bastard, just in case you didn't know. Okay. Because, I'm driving an ID4 instead of a Tesla Model Y. This weekend, I was looking for, I'm going to be performing at the Punchline on Thursday night. By the way, people, British Jon is performing in San Francisco at the Punchline Theater on Thursday night, only Thursday night. I'm doing a guest spot. Kabir Singh is headlining, and I'm busy the rest of the week. It's my wife's birthday on Friday. And seeing as that her major birthday got killed by COVID, we're not talking about that. I was looking for parking on the parking app for cheap parking, and this space came up at $350 Pacific, and I'm like, $350 Pacific? That sounds familiar. They have got 2 200 kilowatt chargers and a 350 on EV Go. Now, what they actually use these for most of the time, this is rather interesting. This is where they charge up Waymo vehicles, or the Waymo Jaguars, the self-driving ones. And this is their city hub. But you can park here for $10 at night. I don't think I'd be bothered about a charge. I can get home and back, thank you very much. But it gets me thinking. Let's have if you don't mind, Joe, we'll keep it to we'll try and keep the pod under an hour. Let me go back to this, the filters. Let's look for all chargers with a minimum 170 on all the networks. And so like Winnemucca, I don't have to worry about Winnemucca anymore, because now I didn't expect that. I'll be honest with you, Joe, this is the one I was looking for. So a little while ago, earlier in the year, they opened up Lovelock in the Safeways there, all brand new. Obviously the stickers didn't stick first time, but all brand new. Why would you use the old chargers at a new site? Why would you use the older ABBs at a new? I know that
that's actually happened around here before. I'm not sure why that was too, but there's a Electrify America less than a mile from my office, and it's those old BTC power units that,
oh God,
there's no way those were even being made when that got installed.
So anyway, so
And
we've
the
got,
funny thing is, there's always pretty much one or two of them is consistently down. It's always a different unit. But anytime I go over there to charge, one of them at least is not working.
so these came online in November of last year, and they're working. Somebody in the Polestar a couple of days ago pulled 143. Thank you, David, for filling in correct information. But then this, which didn't even exist, has just arrived. Oh, it's a free wire. Oh, we love these things. So these just charge all day at a couple of hundred amps, charge a battery that's built into the bottom, and then can deliver the power when you need it. You just don't want huge queues of people. Oh, that's fantastic. With 120 kilowatt. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I'm really happy about that. And look, it even managed to charge a Nissan Leaf 2017 with 153 kilowatts of energy, to the point where it was crispy. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, so there is, competition on the route. I find that interesting. I think, you and I are spoiled. Don't worry, people, you still got these. Oh, more free wires. A free wire built into a container. Wow. That is fantastic. That's just awesome. This is Highway 50, the loneliest road in the world, allegedly. I'm.
Do you want to share your screen on that one?
Oh, am I not? Oh, was I not sharing my screen? So the whole time I've been talking and not sharing. Well, that's just fantastic. Good work, John. So, people, what I was talking about, this is Winnemucca up here, which is we make jokes about. This is the new site that Electrify America brought online at Lovelock, came online at the end of last year. This is one that literally just cropped up at Rye Patch. This is the free wire. Then another free wire one has turned up here with 120 kilowatts of capacity, which is fantastic.
That's actually a big one because I know there's a charger in Eli. I think it's just, you probably have it filtered for faster speeds only.
I do. Hold on, I can remove that though.
Point is though, so if you charge up at Eli, it might be very slow. I'm coming your way. I then can make it to the free wire and actually take that Highway 50 rather than having to go all the way up north and back south.
Joe, is this what you're planning on doing? Because, we all want you to do it, Joe. We all want you to do it. Got all the Teslas. Clearly, only the people with big batteries want to. Is that Model Y? Yeah, Model Y. No one. Let's look at the check-ins. Let's see let's have a look at the check-ins. Always interesting. So it worked with a credit card, but nothing else. Okay, can we give it up for Ed Nixon in a BMW i3 out there?
He's got to have a range extender, you would think. It's got to be a Rex.
Oh, he was only using the J1772 as well. God bless you. God bless you, sir, for trying it. So Joe, when you head out this way to Tahoe, is this what you're gonna do? You're gonna take 50 and record it for us?
I would like to. I don't have that trip scheduled, but that would be pretty cool to go across the Highway 50. Because right now I think there's a Shell station in the middle.
There is.
I've looked
one
at
at
this route
Austin
before.
You got Champs Chevron.
But I think I've seen horrible reviews on that station before. Might have gotten better, but I thought I've seen it wasn't reliable enough to bank a trip on it.
Be sure to have EV Connect set up before you arrive. Limited cell service on board. So you got to have. No one's put a 46 kilowatt on a Hyundai back in May. You know what? And someone even did a video. There's a video review. I'm going to look at that later on. All right. Here's the deal, boys and girls. Here's the deal. Mrs. Garside's not going to sign off on this. It's too stupid. But we'll set up a GoFundMe. And if we can raise $1,000 to pay for Joe's flight and Motel 6 accommodation, we're not wasting anything. We're not wasting Marriott money on it. A Motel 6 money, then Joe and I will take, and a better route planner, you should get in on this as well, because we're going to highlight a better route planner throughout the entire video. Joe's going to come out for the weekend, and he and I are going to do a trip to Salt Lake the wrong way and back the right way. Joe's going to be buggered, but it's going to be funny. We'll do it we'll do it fairly soon, close of tax season, yada yada yada. So we will go from we'll start in the Bay Area, and we'll go up. We'll go one way and come back the other, and we'll try and tie it together with a meetup in either Salt Lake City or Provo at Wise Guys Comedy, at either of their two sites, two venues. I'll talk to Keith and we'll do a thing there. And yeah, Joe, I don't think it's how we meant this to happen. We're way over time, but damn it, my friend, I think you're gonna have to come out here and do something. We'll use my car, but we will. Yeah, that looks like a really stupid thing to do, Joe. I think we've got to do it, my friend. We're gonna run out.
It's just so stupid it might work.
The gaps are filling in all the time. Like there's even another, I see here in Fernley, there's another place coming to be. Silver Springs has now got 50 kilowatts. Fallon already existed beforehand. We may overcharge a little bit on this one, my friend. We may end up charging more than we need, but just out of safety. This is not somewhere.
Yeah, this is not going to be a charger hopper experience.
No, this is not going to be a rip and run.
The way back will.
Oh god, yeah. On the way back, we're gonna set a friggin' record. Abso-friggin-lutely. Wonder if that one's showing positive. Yeah, that one's being used now. That's good. It's only 50 kilowatts, but it was essential. All right, let's all right, enough moronicness. I could end up going through this all day, and I probably will. I got to take, you know what? Let me do this. This is why I came here, Joe. Let me crank it up to 120, and I'm gonna lose Electrify America and Electrify Canada. Wow. Look at all the 120 kilowatts that exist. If you remember when we did this, I don't know if it was a planning or a whatever video we did a while ago, and it was like the one in Denver was the only one. And
yeah, I don't think there's really many of those over by me.
And even Denver, and by the way, Denver people, feel free to let us know what's going on. It's showing Denver as being 100s now everywhere. These all used to be 50s until not long ago.
If you zoom out, there's a pile of them not far from me. What were those if you zoom out? Something that looked like by Iowa, maybe.
Chicago's got nothing. What the hell's going on in Des Moines?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, Chicago's got one of them.
Des Moines is surrounded.
And these are 120 units?
These are all 150s, 120s. These are green lots. Those are green lots. Green lots. These are all come and go green lots. Casey's and come and goes. Quick Star's got 150 on green lot. Early got the same. Omaha 150. Casey's at Vacoa. Casey's had had Electrify America. It's got lots of Electrify Americas.
Yeah, actually, one of my charging stops, or two of my charging stops, are at Casey's Electrify Americas in Iowa that I have to do this weekend.
We haven't talked about this, Joe, but you know what? Look at this map of non-Electrify America chargers. Austin's got at a high school. Well, I have my doubts about whether these are actually 125 or not, if these are 62 and a halves, but whatever. Oh, and a HEB. Well, it's got to be a HEB. That's wow. All right, Joe, you and I are going to have to do a very separate thing. And then, by the way, if you really like the video we do on that one, then the next video we'll do is Joe and I are going to take it to Texas, and we're going to drive down to the charger here in Monterey to a non-networked 175 kilowatt charger. It's going to be great. We're going to bring back proper sugar, cane sugar, Coca-Cola on that trip. All right, Joe, before I get into trouble talking about the time I was smuggled into Mexico and not out of it, I'm going to say thank you for watching. If you have been, especially for hanging around for the last 25 minutes, because it's really had no rhyme or reason and left the tracks pretty quickly. Joe? Stunned silence.
We started with such a plan for today, and then it derailed.
But we got it all out. So yeah, if you're hungry, hey people, this just shows progress. If you're looking at this map right now, this is the non-Electrify America network. This is amazing when you consider what complete, all we had was EA until very recently. We did that video back in late summer, right, Joe? Must have been. It was after I got back.
Yeah, around July, August, somewhere in there.
When we were just looking and we hadn't worked out what we're doing with this thing. Let's lay on Electrify. And this is 120 only. Let's lay on Electrify America. Off. That is impressive. I don't mind telling.
Yeah, the EA chargers are definitely more strategically placed. They help bridge the gaps between cities, but it looks like urban areas certainly are built up. And it definitely seems like a state-by-state funded program, because you look at Iowa's packed with them, Colorado's packed with them, but then Nebraska had nothing.
All right. Well, look, thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. Whatever you do, look after yourself.
Take care.